Welcome to Love the Ozarks. I'm Brian. Today we're in my garage. It's been real rainy and muddy lately, but I'm trying to get my garden in. And the village I live in, we're on a lot, so I don't have a lot of room, and I'm always looking for new ways to expand. And for the last few years, I've looked at these, some people call them SIP, self-irrigating planters, wicking planters, self-watering planters. They go by all these different names, all these different designs. And I've tried two or three that I've seen on the internet, and they've all been failures. I usually end up with a muddy mess on the bottom and rock hard. You can't break the dirt on the top. And all the ones you see that you could buy, they're always too small, too expensive. I haven't seen any good options for these. But I started watching Arms Family Homestead, and he got me to watching Leon's Gardening out of Kingston, Oklahoma. I believe it's Leon's Greenhouses in Kingston, Oklahoma is the man. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel below. But he teaches how to make these different self-wicking containers. And I tried it, and as you can see by this tomato next to me, I put it in here the second week of March it was, and I didn't believe it was going to work. So I just ran to Walmart, and I think it was an Early Girl, just one of them that they had. I threw it in here, and as you can see, I got nice tomatoes. This is where we put the water in. There's a hole right here for the extra to come out, and as you can see, it's exceeding the height of the cage, and it's got tomatoes all the way up the whole plant, and it's grown beautifully. I've had no problems. So today I actually want to make a couple 5-gallon bucket ones, and I'm going to show you my preferred way, and then another just quick, easy, really cheap way to do it both. Because I have some Pawpaw seeds that I picked up at the Baker Creek Seed Festival, and I want to get these planted and put aside so that I can grow them and take them to the farm. And then for my tomatoes and peppers and some other things, I'm also going to try these out. I'm going to make these into some self-wicking containers. I got them for, I think it was $24 for 8 of them on Amazon or Walmart. They're a Walmart product, but I think I bought them from Amazon. Anyway, it was $24 for 8. I got 16. That gives me a whole lot more area in my little suburban lot. I can put these along the edge of my driveway, take advantage of some really sunny locations, and hopefully grow some more food for my family. But I will show you how to make. The concept's the same. You just need a waterproof container that you can drill a hole in, and I'll show you how on these buckets. The rest of it applies to anything, and whatever you use. Your imagination's pretty much the limit. So hold on a second, let me show you that.
First thing we're going to do
is we're going to take a 5-gallon bucket and a piece of PVC. I like to use larger PVC so that I can stick a water spout can in the PVC hole easy. 3/4 to 2 inch would be fine. I think this is 1.5. As you see, I cut one end at an angle. The end at an angle is so that the water can come out. If it's flat, there's a chance it could sit on the bottom of your bucket like that, and the water not come out. So make sure you cut one end at an angle. As far as your other end, you just want to slightly around the surface there. So I'll put a mark on it and cut that. There. Have that for container, as you can see, is 6 inches high. On our bucket, we will put a mark at 5 inches. And that is the key that I learned from Leon, is this is going to be the space for the air and the water in the bottom of our bucket. So the soil will be around it. It will fit in the bottom of the bucket like that, and the soil will go around that, and that is going to be what wicks up the water. But this space will allow the capacity for the water, and by putting the hole an inch below it, you also have capacity for the air. Plants' roots do have anaerobic respiration in the cells, and they do need air in the soil in order to do that. They can't be waterlogged. Naturally, there's exceptions for all kinds of stuff, but for the most part, they cannot be waterlogged. And that air gives you the capillary action of the air going up through the soil, and then around the outside, the soil making contact with the water gives you the wicking action to wick the water up to the plant's roots, so the plant can get all the moisture it needs. So we just drill a hole through there. This 6-inch pot already has holes in the top, so the air can escape up through. When the water comes in, the air is going to need a place to go. But what we need are some holes around the sides so the water can get in and out. There we go. Now I have holes all the way around the sides of the planter. I can put that down in there. Put this beside it. I have some standard landscape fabric. The longer the year warranty on it, the longer it lasts. Cheap stuff dissolves very quickly. If you want something to last a long time, you want to get professional landscaper mix, probably from a nursery or somewhere. I'm just making temporary stuff, so I'm not as concerned about it. I got 10-year, it'll last me 2 or 3 years in the soil at the most, but that's fine for what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do now, I have just a piece of that, is I'm going to cut a hole into it like that, and that hole will give me access for the pipe, so I don't let too much soil in. And the hole is here, so I'm going to try to put the pipe on the other side so that the water has to go all the way around. And I'm trying to make sure that I got some of the cloth over in front of the hole to make sure I keep the soil in the bucket. Before we put the soil in, I show you the soil side of things. Let me show you an even simpler one. This one, we're just going to use a standard milk jug. And because our milk jug is about 8 inches up to here, we'll put our hole at about 6 inches on the milk jug. So we'll put the hole at about 6 inches for that one. Like I said, this doesn't have to be precise. The thing that you want to remember when you're looking at that is that you have enough area above there for the soil, for the roots, and to contain the plant, and you want to have enough area below it that there's enough water in there that it is working as a reservoir to self-water the plant. You need the right combination of soil and water. Just don't get too out of whack with too little water or too much water. I think good old-fashioned common sense probably help there. On the milk jug, let's do something a little different. I think it's a 3/16 inch drill bit. Of holes in a milk jug that has been washed out. We'll put it in the bucket. It's that simple. Now let me show you what we've been using for soil. That's where I went wrong in the past. I thought because I had such a small amount of growing medium that I needed to use the best soil and compost I had. That holds too much water, it's too dense, it just doesn't work well for this application. So what I am using and what Leon suggested is you just use a good growing mix. This particular mix right here is 70 to 85% Canadian moss, perlite, dolomite limestone. The limestone is because of the pH of the peat moss, and it's added to adjust the pH basically, and a wetting agent. And that's pretty much it. There is no nutrients to speak of in here, so we are going to have to feed the plants in order to give them the nutrients they need to grow. But this loose mix will definitely wick the water and hold the air like we need. We just got to add the food, and instead of just using plain water when we water the plant, we're going to feed the plant every time we water it. I'm going to make a compost tea with some Alaska fish emulsion and compost, and I'll feed my plants with that. Any commercial, there's all kinds of options out there as far as what you could use. Miracle Grow even would work. I'm not a fan of Miracle Grow. I try not to support the Scott's company, but anything would work. And if you can't find a good commercial growing mix, potting mix, go to your Walmart, buy a bag of Miracle Grow potting mix. That would work fine. You're just looking, you want a good 75 to 80% peat moss, and the remaining either perlite, vermiculite, something like that. And then you want some limestone in there, or lime in there, to give it a balance out the pH. But that's basically all it is. And now we're going to mix this up.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my...
Trying to get this bag to stand up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my buckets for the wicking part. And if you notice on this one, I didn't put a pipe to water. We still have the hole, so it's still going to work. Water, you're going to just pour water in it until it comes out. You are going to lose some dirt because we didn't put any landscape fabric in it, but it will work. This will work fine for that. like I said, I'm planting pawpaw seeds in there. I'm trying to get some seedlings started. So I'm just going to plant 5 seeds in each packet, for 1 packet in each bucket. So I'm just going to put a ring of the pawpaw seeds around this, and that should work fine. Here's the other one that has the pipe in it. Like I said, that is my preferred design. If you're growing tomatoes or something, it's nice to be able to keep the soil and the leaves drier on the surface, and always have enough moisture at the roots for the tomato. That is a very nice feature and very good for tomatoes. That's why I'm going to use them in the larger buckets. I just didn't think these were quite big enough for the tomatoes that I hope to grow. And then you can see I just got it even with the top of that. And now
I got it. Actually, I'll just use one of my buckets here. I'll put in enough that I know I can do both buckets.
as you can see, I got about half a container, and you can see that how light and fluffy that mix is. That's why it wicks up the moisture so well, but still remains light and airy enough that the air can get up through it also. I got this last year at Closeout from Tractor Supply. It's organic, and it's 364. Any most organic fertilizers you see, these numbers are NPK, and the number stands for the weight, the percentage of product of each one of those macronutrients for plants. Organic will tend to have lower numbers. The lower numbers, there's a lot less worry about burning your plants. So that's why I'm going to add just a couple big handfuls of the Burpee's Organic Tomato and Vegetable 364. I don't have... We have to add micronutrients, and a lot of people add sea salt, dehydrated seawater, which has salt and other trace minerals that the plants need. I couldn't find any of that, but I do have azomite, which is natural trace minerals from volcano ash deposit. So I'm and some of the other fertilizers I'm adding also are adding some of the trace minerals, so I should be fine. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of this to make sure we have enough trace minerals. And how about we do that about that much. As you can see, I'm real scientific in this. Even though it had dolomite in there, I'm going to throw another handful of agricultural limestone in there because it has magnesium, calcium in high quantities. I think it's 21% calcium, 13 magnesium, and 53 calcium carbide. So a good handful of that. The other two things I always try to add, I got blood meal here, that's 12 on the nitrogen. I'm going to put just a little bit of that in. That'll get it off to a good start. A very water soluble nitrogen. And bone meal, which is I know it's got to have a number on here somewhere. 2% nitrogen, 14 phosphate, and 15% calcium. So we're going to try to get a couple scoops of that. And last, I do have some mushroom compost I get from a local company called Mulch and More by the scoop. Every year I try to buy 2 or 3 scoops of this mushroom compost, high in cow manure. A local mushroom farm used it because they sterilize it. It's low in weed seeds and has a lot of fungus activity. It's a fungal compost, so I like to try to get at least a couple scoops every year to use. And I'm going to put probably that much in there. Now that I have all that in there,
break up into these big clumps. Make sure all that off the bottom is mixed in. And there, we're ready to finish snapping off our planters. The pawpaws need to be planted an inch deep, so I am going to fill these up, and they're going to pack a little bit when I water them to get them moistened down. So I'm going to fill them near the top, and then
I'll cover the seeds with some of that mushroom compost. Probably a 50-50 mix with that and this right over to actually cover the seeds. I believe I got to plant them an inch deep.
like I said on this one,
When you'll water from the top like you would a regular pot, but you're going to see the water come out here when the reservoir is full. And like I said, you want to water because we don't have a soil mixture. You're going to want to put some kind of liquid plant food with your water every time you water these. And the ones in the bucket, I've been watering that tomato about every other day, I believe, lately. And you. So anyway, let me go ahead and finish getting these planted with the pawpaw seeds. I said I got these at Baker Creek during the spring planting festival. I thought it was really cool. I've been trying to get some more pawpaws to take to our farm. And these come refrigerated, and you have to keep them refrigerated and moist until you plant them. And when you plant these, it may take 1 to 3 months or weeks, was it? 1 to 3 weeks before you actually see anything happening. My understanding is they grow their taproot first before they ever pop anything above ground. So they say with the pawpaws, you have to keep them moist and be very, very patient. So I thought these self-watering containers would hopefully help me ensure I keep them moist. And I have 2 pawpaws that I've gotten, and I grew from tiny guys here, and I took them up to our farm in Missouri, and I've planted them up there. But I'm pretty sure they're of the same family species. And pawpaws have to have another unrelated tree to pollinate with in order to set fruit. So I have 2 pawpaws at my farm, and one of them did bloom this year, which I'll see if I got a picture of it. I'll insert a picture of the one that bloomed. Uh, but until I get another unrelated pawpaw up there for it to pollinate with, it will never set fruit. And pawpaws are weird when they're young. You have to, they grow them in the shade they're an understory plant. So you have to grow them in the shade for the first couple years. But in order for them to ever set fruit, they need to get at least a certain amount of sunlight. So it is a balance, but it makes it easy for me. I grow them here. I'll sprout them in these, grow them up in the cloth bags, which I did the other ones I took to the farm. The cloth bags do a good job of root pruning them, and I'll wait till they're 3 years old before I take them to the farm, so I can grow them here, whatever area that they need, keep them moist and taken care of, and then take them up there and put them in an area where they're gonna at least get partial sun during the day.
Just sprinkle a little bit of this over the top, avoid the moisture. And I'll have to water these repeatedly. I'm going to have to get them really soaked. I didn't pre-moisten any of the potting mix before I started doing this, so I will have to do that. So I'll be watering them continually as I soak this up. Keep soaking down.
Well, I hope that helped somebody. Like I said, I believe that's an excellent way to expand your growing area. Take advantage of some sunny spots you may have available and grow something. Hope you watch some of our other videos. Until next time.